So it's been almost a week since The Mandalorian Season 3 came to an official end, but I never really got the time to talk about it, and so I wanted to share a couple of my quick thoughts here for you today. When it comes to a Mandalorian Season 3, this is very much a mixed bag, to the point that I can easily say this is my least favorite season of the show, and that it's arguably something that I just really didn't like all that much at all. Now, it's not to say that everything about this season was bad, but aside from the last two episodes or so, I just didn't really feel myself invested or caring about anything else. There's just so many different stories happening throughout the first six episodes or so, and they're like these minor side stories that are filled with a lot of plot holes that can be really boring, that just don't make sense. And they had some good moments in them. There were some parts that I enjoyed, but even like the action, it just didn't feel very good. It just didn't flow very well, or look very realistic until you got to these end episodes. And even the end episodes left me a little bit disappointed. And the reason for that is that there's actually a lot of great ideas that are squeezed into them. And there's a lot of things that occur that are kind of like the big buildup that we've been building to for the last couple of seasons. And it just happened so fast. And I feel like the concepts and ideas that were in those last couple episodes could have been stretched and could have been most of this season, including a few of the side stories that you wanted to tell. But they didn't do that. They just focused on these side stories and on having all these cameos, and then tried to squeeze everything into the final episodes. And it just didn't really work for me. Yeah, those final episodes are enjoyable, but they just don't quite live up to what we've gotten in past seasons, where they were able to tell a story throughout an entire season that left me interested. Another thing about this season that I was not a big fan of, and it's not that I don't like her character, I do like the character, but Bo Katan almost takes the protagonist place of this season over Din Djarin. And I like her character, I think she's great. I really enjoy her being in the show, but I like her when she's there as kind of the side character to Din Djarin, kind of like what they did in Mandalorian Season 2. This one kind of puts her at the forefront for most of the season, and I just didn't like that as much. I want to go back to being with Din. I want to spend time with him. I want to spend time with Grogu and that relationship, which has always been one of my favorite things about the show that we don't get as much of in this particular season. So I will say this about the show. It's watchable. It's got some good moments to it. It's not quite as difficult to get through at parts as what you get in the Book of Boba Fett, but it's still difficult to get through at some moments. And so if you're wanting to continue the story of Din Djarin, the story of the Mandalorian, as they've announced, there's going to eventually be a film that kind of finalizes and finishes all of this up, and you want to keep track of the story, definitely check this season out. But be weary that it may not live up to your standards that were set with Season 2 and Season 1. So go into it prepared for that, and you might find yourself enjoying this one a decent amount. But anyways, guys, those are my really quick thoughts on The Mandalorian Season 3. Have you guys had the opportunity to finish it up as well? If so, let us know down in the comments what you thought. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content.